job in the house selecting today's final winner. With that being said, I think it's time to introduce the stars of our show, don't you think?
Oh, yeah, let's bring them in.
Yeah. We are so proud of each of these students for their amazing accomplishments. So please welcome to the stage the 2024 finalists for America's Top Young Scientists!
Let's hear it! Let's go, superstars! Woo, woo, woo. Thank you, finalists. These young scientists have been working all summer on their innovations. I'm so excited to see what they have in store, aren't you?
Oh, I'm excited. I'm definitely excited.
Okay, how about you?
Beautiful students. Look at them.
Yes.
Give them another big round of applause.
That's up.
Yes.
All right, so let's get started. Please help me welcome our first finalist, William Tan.
Woo!
Hey, William.
Hi.
How you feeling?
Really good.
You ready to get started?
Yeah. I just need
Okay,
to
let
plug
me
this in.
grab a clicker for you.
Yeah.
All set?
Yep.
Okay, you're gonna need this, and good luck.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Floor is yours.
Hi, I'm William, and as an avid sailor, I would often notice that oyster reefs near red sail always seemed empty of life. In fact, this is a huge issue. Since the 1950s, more than 50% of all coral reefs have been lost. And not only that, by the end of this century, another $14.2 trillion would also be lost. And unfortunately, many artificial reefs also fail, like the Osborne Reef. Introducing my novel solution called the AISAR, also known as the AI Smart Artificial Reef. So I made two key changes to version 2. So my first change is a self-healing reef, and my second change is a more intelligent reef. So to make this project, I separated it into 3 main phases. So phase 1 was to make a physical prototype, and I wanted it to be collapsible, affordable, and even be able to survive UPS delivery. And for phase number 2, I added 3 main sensors. And for phase number 3, I wanted my reef to be capable of data monitoring and predictive modeling. Now let me jump into phase number 1. So I designed it as an equilateral hollow 3D printed pyramid designed in AutoCAD Fusion 360. So basically what I did is that each panel can be individually reassembled at the final destination. But what's so special about this is that I coated it with a special oyster shell coating, which replicates natural reefs already in place to help jumpstart growth. And now my first change is a self-healing reef by using a graphite composite material and also the concept of biorock. So first, I'm going to explain a little bit about what biorock is. So generally, biorock uses low voltage electrical currents and they pass it through water to help minerals crystallize. But what's so special about this is that traditional biorock uses steel rebar, which is difficult to install and corrodes over time. And my graphite composite material is made out of 3 key things. The core is made out of a copper wire, which is anti-fouling. That basically means that animals can't live on it, but it's also extremely conductive. And my outer core is made out of a PVA polymer and graphite mixture, which is extremely conductive. And my outer shell is made out of a graphite, sodium silicate, and also a 3M epoxy conductive mixture. In all, this creates a super conductive mixture that even when I added it to a circuit, the brightness of the light doesn't even decrease. Next, I'm going to talk about my phase number 2. So I added 3 main sensors for my AISAR. So I used a temperature sensor, a dissolved oxygen sensor, and also an ArduCam underwater camera. And I also used 3 main 3M products. I used the 3M pillar foam in my buoy. I used the 3M panel bonding adhesive in my graphite composite mixture, and I also used the 3M marine adhesive to help seal the electronics and also seal my buoy. Next, I'm going to talk about phase number 3. So basically the Arduino R4 Wi-Fi would be above water, while the rest of the sensors would be below water. But what's so special about this is that generally the sensors in the ocean are all above water, collecting data from the water on the surface, not on the bottom. And this can really help add another perspective for scientists to analyze. And now I'm going to talk about my data monitoring and predictive modeling. So my AISAR prototype was released in the dock near the Longland Sound for a few months. And I tracked the temperature compared to the dissolved oxygen content over the course of these months. And the results were stunning. In fact, in the winter, you can actually see when it dips down and when all the values actually change. And an ecosystem that was really biodiverse was developed on the reef with small fish, crabs, and even baby oysters holding onto the reef. Next, I'm going to talk about predictive modeling. So I can monitor the temperature and dissolved oxygen level in real time. I can also detect sudden changes to specific values and send an emergency alert if I have to. I can also predict future events and hypoxic conditions based on previous data. So basically how this works is that I would upload previous data for that location and time period, and then analyze the past trends and compare with the trends already experienced to predict the future events. Next, I have a more intelligent reef by using SMS and email alerts. So it can send real-time temperature and dissolved oxygen values to email and SMS. And in fact, it actually just sent me an email alert just now. And it's crucial to track and predict hypoxic conditions so scientists know what to do. Next, I'd like to talk about my 3M Young Scientist journey. So on June 9th, I received a call that I was a top 10 finalist, and I was extremely happy. Unfortunately, on June 18th, I actually had an accident with a car, so I couldn't really work on my project. Then after that, I met my amazing mentor, Deborah, and then I quickly made my 2 key changes. Finally, over the course of my mentorship, I learned so much. Whether it's research or perseverance, I just learned so much with my amazing mentor, Deborah. Thank you. I'd like to thank the 3M Young Scientist Lab, Discovery Education, and the Dobbs Ferry Public Library for making all of this possible. Thank you.
Awesome work, William. Awesome work. I'm going to let you keep your clicker.
Yep.
Are you ready for some Q&A?
Yeah.
Judges, you ready? Okay. 5 minutes are on the clock. Good luck.
Hi there, William. Very nice presentation. Could you tell us a little bit why you chose the pyramid shape for your prototype?
Yeah, so for me, I felt like it was the easiest shape to construct because there only needs to be 4 sides. So in fact, it's actually easier to 3D print and actually construct it because like I was thinking about using a square, but doing a square would actually be kind of hard because now I need to print out 5 sides, especially in the bottom because I didn't want to add a bottom so like it could naturally grow. And I just found that this was like the most effective shape because then now fish can actually swim in and out. So it really protects the fish and like any other animals that are on the reef.
Great, thanks, William. So an artificial reef makes a lot of sense to address this issue with coral reef. Can you talk a little bit about what a successful artificial reef looks like and how you measure that? Is it the diversity of the animals and reef growing there? Is it the amount?
Yeah, so for example, like the Osborne Reef, which I talked about, it just consisted of like a bunch of tires that were dumped into the ocean, and also like a lot of other artificial reefs. They're used a bit like they basically put dangerous chemicals in the water, and that's obviously not a successful reef because you're just basically releasing more toxins and chemicals into the water. So for like my reef, for example, it's made out of PLA, which is actually biodegradable and it's also non-toxic, so it doesn't affect the water. And then my outer coating also like it kind of like represents like natural reefs already in place, so it really helps. And then basically like the way you can measure it is basically by seeing how much growth there is, and also like how many animals there are per like how long you put it there. And also what matters a lot is like biodiversity again, because like if there's only like one species, that means like your pH might not be right, because that means like other animals might not actually be able to live there. So like you want to have like a really good mix.
Hey William, very great project, and I'm always excited when AI is part of the solution, right?
Yeah.
Can you say a little bit more about how you could leverage the data you're collecting to customize this solution to different reefs? So based on different temperatures, acidity of the water, can you create a different shape or a different composition that would work better for those locations?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. So basically for my coding so far, I basically set like a set value of like within, like as long as it doesn't go within that set value, it won't alert. So I can actually change that depending on like, based on like the weather and like conditions. So like for example, in like Minnesota, like the weather like varies greatly, but like where I live in New York, it varies a lot less, or like in Florida, it varies a lot less. So like Minnesota, you might have to widen the values a little bit more because as temperature goes down, like then the dissolved oxygen content will go up by like 0.2. So like you have to like vary these variables often, and then my camera also has AI integrated in it, so it can like detect motion. So yeah.
You mentioned it was an affordable solution. How much would this cost if I had it shipped to me?
Yeah, so far, this reef, you can actually ship it to you. It's collapsible, right? So this large reef, like the outer mixture is, so in all, it's pretty heavy, but the outer, the plastic plates are actually pretty light. So far, like if you, like all collapsed down, it would probably cost you around like $40 to ship, which is extremely cheap. And also the outer mixture is also really cheap because it's just made out of oysters and grout, which is really cheap to get, so. And that's like the reason why I made it collapsible, so like, you could save space and like get more.
Great talk, William. I actually had one question about the composition of your AISAR. So would this be applicable to like any reef all over the world, or would you have to change the composition a bit to handle like a different climate?
Yeah, so basically I did some research on this already. So basically for coral and oysters, the optimal pH is around 8.2. So far the pH of this is around, like outer mixture is around 9.6, like untreated, like when you first put it in the water. So it's obviously too high, but as time, like in a few months, the pH slowly gradually goes down. So yeah, you can obviously change it depending on what species you're targeting, but my targeted species is oysters and coral. So yeah, you can change it.
Thanks, William. So you mentioned that you made your structure out of PLA and that it's biodegradable. Are you intending for the structure to degrade in the ocean? Do you know if it would?
Yeah, so it will biodegrade over 100 years. So what I really wanted to do with this is that since like the Osborne Reef, I took inspiration from them because like they just dumped a bunch of tires and then they had to take them out after it failed, right? But with this, even if like things don't grow on it, you can still leave it there because like it would slowly biodegrade, and even if it does succeed, then the oysters can actually, like, they can grow on them. They can support their own structure after this thing collapses. So my goal for this is that it might start out as an artificial reef, but slowly it would become a natural reef, which is my main goal. Yeah.
When you get an alert, what kind of actions could you take to protect the reef?
Yeah, so that basically just sends data to scientists, and then you know, like, thank you.
I'm sorry, but that's time. Thank you so much, William. Let's give him another round of applause.
Big round of applause. William, absolutely amazing work. Yes. Love it, love it. Now, you've probably all heard the phrase that there's a 3M technology around you at all times, and honestly, it's probably